Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I am Deepika Mehto, and coming up in the next 1 hour. Campaigning to end on Sunday evening for the third phase of India's general elections. 93 seats in 11 states and union territory will go to the polls on the 7th of May. Progress in Gaza truce talks after first round of negotiations ended in Cairo. Talks to now resume on Sunday. Hamas reiterates deal should include commitment towards an end to the conflict. Devastating floods ravage East Africa. Over 600,000 people affected. Tropical cyclone Hidayah threatens to worsen humanitarian crisis in flooded nations. And Real Madrid continues their domination in Spanish football as they successfully lift their record-extending 36th La Liga title. And now let's first get you the latest on the world's largest democratic elections across India. Campaigning for the third phase of India's general elections will end on Sunday evening, and voting for this phase will be held on the 7th of May across 93 constituencies covering 10 states and 1 union territory. The states that will go to the polls are Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Dadra and Nagar Haveli along with Daman and Diu. Now, as many as 1,351 candidates are in the fray for the third phase of polling. Some of the prominent names contesting the Lok Sabha 2024 include Union Minister of Home Affairs Amit Shah, Rebel BJP leader K.S. Aishwarappa, Union Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia, Dimple Yadav, Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Supriya Sule. So, campaigning for the fourth phase of Lok Sabha elections, which is scheduled for the 13th of May, gains momentum as political leaders holding rallies and roadshows across the nation in order to garner support of the voters in the favour of party's candidate. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to visit the political powerhouse of Uttar Pradesh, where he will be holding rally in Etawah and Sitapur. Later in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also visit the holy city of Ayodhya. He will seek the blessings of Lord Ram there. Prime Minister will also hold a road show in the city of Ayodhya. And now to get you the latest from Ground Zero, we have with us Yogesh Sheetal, who is joining us from West Maharashtra, and we also have with us Akshay Dongre, who is joining us from Bhopal. A very good morning to both of you. First of all, Yogesh, I would like to come to you. How is the election fever gripping up there in Maharashtra as we are just few hours away from the silent period, Yogesh?
Right. We know the temperature exceptionally high in Western Maharashtra, Marathwada and Konkan region, all three pockets of Maharashtra where the polling is to be held on 7th of May. So at this point in time, the campaigning is at its peak currently. We have seen recently also the Amit Shah visited Kolhapur. He visited Kolhapur Mahalakshmi temple, one of the famous temples also in Kolhapur, and visited Sangli and all the pockets. In fact, all the star campaigners are just campaigning. They are just, trying all the way, all their best and leaving no stone unturned to convince the voters, not only BJP, also the two regional parties, NCP, both the factions of NCP, both the factions of Shiv Sena also. Coming to the key candidates and key seats coming to this phase particularly, we know that Baramati is one of the key seats, we can say the hot seats at this point in time, because the Pawars are basically all the two factions of Sharad Pawar, of the Pawar family, Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar. Both are in fact proxy facing, because Sharad Pawar's daughter, 3-time MPs from Baramati, Supriya Sule is contesting from there, and Sunitra Pawar, the wife of Ajit Pawar, is contesting. So that is also important. At the same time, two descendants of royal family, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj family, Shahu Chhatrapati and also Udyan Raje Bhosle, these are contesting from Kolhapur and Satara respectively. Apart from these, coming to key figures, we know that all the pocket, basically just talking about Western Maharashtra comprehensively, this is basically sugar belt, and it's one of the key sectors in India where cooperative sector is quite strong. And recently we have seen that how cooperative ministry, a dedicated ministry to cooperative sector was set up by the center. So that is also one of the major issues here, all the pertaining issues of cooperative. And also the other issues of Marathwada region, like two constituencies of Marathwada, Usmanabad and Latur. Two constituencies of Marathwada, Western Marathwada is also going to poll in this region. In Konkan, we know that in Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg, one constituency, and Raigad is another constituency. These two constituencies, the Konkan, issues of Konkan, because BJP is trying to infiltrate Konkan region. Konkan has been the bastion of Shiv Sena, but this is the first time BJP has fielded Narayan Rane, the BJP candidate. This is the first time. So Konkan is also going to make some important, result at this point in time. So coming comprehensively in all three pockets, yes, preparations are at its peak. We have to wait by today, because the campaigning is going to end by today, and all the adequate elements are put in place by the commission, by the district administration, considering the exceptionally high temperature, climate, and hope for the best in this phase. Yeah,
and coming to you, Akshay, when we talk about the preparations, how are the preparations, especially by the Election Commission, going on there? Because we are just few hours away, and then we would have the silent period being observed in an activated mode. Akshay.
Well, Deepika, if you look at the last polling that took place on the phase 2 in the state of Madhya Pradesh, the approximate polling percentage trend was not very motivating for neither the political parties nor the Election Commission of India, because if we look at the polling percentage, it was somewhere around 58.5%. That is in fact lower than the state of Bihar. And there is only one state that has gone lower in the phase 2, that is the state of Uttar Pradesh, which polled about 55% of polling took place. So polling percentage in Madhya Pradesh will remain a key concern for the Election Commission of India. Ever since the phase 2 polling trends came in after the polling ended, the Election Commission of India in fact has restarted their push to ask youth to come out and vote. They have been going on with their campaigns to motivate people to come out and cast their ballot. However, this time around, different from the last polling, the polling day is not near a weekend. So there is high likelihood that people, especially in the urban areas like Bhopal and like other cities of Madhya Pradesh where the polling will take place, people will not in fact go out of the cities, because many a times it has been observed that during long weekends people usually take voting day as a day off, club it with the week offs, and then they go for a tourist destination, given the fact that the temperatures are quite high here in the state of Madhya Pradesh right now, especially in the cities and constituencies like Vidisha, like Rajgarh, in Bhopal as well. So this time around, since the polling day is on a Tuesday in the middle of a week, it is likely that the polling percentage will rise. But the Election Commission of India is not only dependent on that, they are further pushing for the election, for people to come out and cast their ballots. Besides that, the political parties have also started to mobilize their cadre, their workers and candidates to ensure that polling remains high as far as the people of Madhya Pradesh are concerned.
Coming back to you, Yogesh, when you told us about the factions, you told us about the party and the combination that we are witnessing over there. But tell us about the pulse of the voters there. What is that suggesting, Yogesh?
See, it's a very important question, I think, because pulse of the voter is something everyone, all the parties and all the experts are trying to, just Google it, because what we have been witnessing here, particularly in these regions, in Kokar region as well as in Western. See, since the sympathy wave is very silent and it will play a very decisive role, we can say, because the sympathy wave can sweep away all the narratives that have been set up by the parties, whether it is the Shiv Sena's Eknath Shinde faction or Shiv Sena's Uddhav Thackeray faction, whether it is Sharad Pawar's faction of NCA or NCP led by Ajit Pawar. So the sympathy wave is something very important in these regions, because recently what we had seen in 2022, we had seen that how split in Shiv Sena. Later on we had seen how split in NCP, and both regional parties are quite strong. Many of the constituencies, many of the pockets are their bastion and their holds, because if you see Marathwada was never under British rule. We know Marathwada was under Nizam rule, and after Nizam there was Congress hold, and after Congress bastion, since the emergence of Balasaheb Thackeray, we had seen a lot of support for Balasaheb Thackeray, and especially I would like to emphatic on that word, that Maratha, Maratha stronghold, because we had seen Maratha protest also in these regions. So what would be the exact scene, what would be the exact result will not only be heard in these regions, but also the echo will be heard in Maharashtra overall, because the lineup, because the Maharashtra Assembly election is also lined up by the end this year. So all these regional parties, you can see regional parties will definitely trying their best to ensure a good bargaining power for the Maharashtra Assembly election also. So this is a neck-to-neck contest. We can say this is an acid test, this is a litmus test for the regional parties basically, because BJP has a lot of things to say, but coming to NCP and coming to Shiv Sena, their split will definitely make the different dots have been created, and to connect all the dots, all the parties are trying their best to secure that their narratives are set, and they could convince the voters, the last voters at the very last hour, because we know that the final, the announcement, basically campaigning is going to be end by the late of today's evening.
Right, and Akshay, when we talk about Bhopal, how is the enthusiasm there among the voters and especially the youth category?
Well, it seems that the youth is quite excited about casting their ballot, and especially the first-time voters. We can expect first-time voters to come out in huge numbers to cast their ballot, to cast their vote, to ensure that their voice is also heard. There are a lot of youth-centric issues as well in cities like Bhopal, where people have been expecting more from their governments. Youth especially has been quite ambitious as far as the cities are concerned, the smart city projects are concerned, and given the fact this is a national election, the people are quite enthusiastic about casting their ballot and seeing their candidate win. The political parties, however, on the other hand, are trying to give one last push to the campaigning. The campaignings are taking place till late at night and starting early in the morning. And this is not just happening in cities like Bhopal. The leaders are trying to ensure that they go to each and every region of the state. For example, we also have tribal constituencies in Madhya Pradesh. We have tribal regions. We have regions that are dominated by farmers. We have small villages. We have big villages. We have semi-urban areas. So the aim of the leaders here right now is to reach out to each and every constituency, each and every area, each and every at least reach out to their cadre who are in fact working day and night, who are working round the clock to ensure victory for their political parties. So not a lot of time left now, about 7 to 8 hours left for the campaigning to end. So one last push has been given by all the political parties, be it on social media front or be it out on the streets, reaching out to the voters and cadres of the respective political parties.
Indeed.
Deepika?
Thank you so much, Akshay Dongre, and thank you so much, Yogesh Sheetal, for joining us and bringing us up to speed with the latest from Ground Zero. Moving on, at the invitation of the Election Commission of India, 75 delegates from the election management bodies of 23 countries are all set to witness the world's largest election unfold. The election body is holding an election visitors program for the foreign visitors to familiarize them with the nuances of India's electoral system and the best practices used here. It's now time to take a short break here on DD India News Hour, but still to come. Sweep programs being conducted in Karnataka to encourage maximum participation on the 7th of May polling day. Security has been tightened in Jammu and Kashmir after an Indian Air Force convoy was attacked by the terrorists. And IMD predicts relief from scorching conditions in several Indian states from the 5th till the 9th of May.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. After that short break, you're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. Well, as the campaigning nears conclusion for the third phase of polling in Karnataka, the focus is now shifted to ensure that the voting percentage remains healthy despite the extreme heat wave that has gripped parts of the state. Sweep programs are being conducted in villages to encourage maximum participation in the polling. Ravi Thiman reports.
The ancient 6th century Shiv temple in Enigari village in Dharwad district of southern Indian state of Karnataka is accustomed to traditional diyas or lamps being lit inside to worship the deity. But this evening there are plenty of lights lit up just outside the courtyard. These are not the devotees but the volunteers under the sweep program of the Election Commission of India organizing a small candlelight event for voter awareness. Sweep, or the Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation, is a flagship program of the Election Commission of India to promote voter education and participation in elections. Owing to excessive heat during daytime, sweep programs in many districts of Karnataka are being organized during the evening. Owing to excessive heat during daytime, sweep programs in many districts of Karnataka were organized during the evening or early morning. Just a few kilometers away from Enigiri, these workers desilting the village pond were in for a nice surprise early in the morning. District administration under the sweep program engaged volunteers to make a huge rangoli, a colorful art form prevalent in India, for spreading voter awareness. Umachagi has been identified as a low voter turnout village. The effort here is to ensure that the farmers understand the power of their vote and come out in numbers to participate in polling on May 7th.
See, this village has low voter turnout in the polling booth here in the village. So to address that, we have planned a sweep activity to create awareness about what is the support system, what are the facilities in the polling booth and why they should vote. So we are educating them and motivating them to go and vote on 7th May.
Later, a cake was also cut to mark the event and everyone took an oath to cast his or her vote on May 7th. The villagers, reeling under drought conditions, are struggling to cope with the extreme weather and scanty rainfall in the area. The colorful depiction, perhaps, is telling them that polls are the most important festival of democracy and that their vote can certainly add shades to the rangoli of life.
Every small step that makes India achieve a higher voter turnout is in fact a giant leap in strengthening democracy in our country. Small initiatives like these go a long way in strengthening the entire system. Rangolis in this part of India are usually made to make the guest feel welcome. There is no doubt that Rangoli, especially Rangolis like these, will make the villagers feel special when they step out of their homes on May 7th to cast their vote and participate in this huge festival of democracy. With camera person Murmukut Sharma, Ravi Dhiman for DD India in Dharwad.
Now, ahead of the 7th of May polls, various awareness programs are also being organized across the country to appeal the voters to come out and exercise their franchise. One such awareness program was organized in Gujarat's Ahmedabad, where people from all walks of life participated in Run for Vote. From praising India's global image, India's stance on terrorism, China border dispute and Prime Minister Narendra Modi's firm stance, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar highlighted the changes witnessed under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In an interview given to a weekly newspaper, Dr. S. Jaishankar said that now it's a Bharat First policy, unlike what it was before. Speaking on India-China relations, Jaishankar said that we have a history that we cannot wish away. Now the answer is to develop our border infrastructure and build deep national capabilities. It also means safeguarding critical infrastructure and core manufacturing areas. Giving the message to an international community, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar also said that India will always be a force of stability and it will always be a force of global good. Moving on, in Jammu and Kashmir, security has been now tightened up after an Indian Air Force convoy was attacked by the terrorists on Saturday. One soldier of the Indian Air Force was martyred while 4 others were injured when 2 vehicles, including one of the Indian Air Force, came under firing from terrorists in the Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir. The security forces have cordoned off the area and have launched a hunt against the terrorists. The security forces marched in many areas of Poonch on Sunday morning and also strengthened barricading in the entire district. Now, several Indian states witnessed maximum temperatures in the range of 42 to 45 degrees Celsius on Saturday, with heat wave intensity declining in east and parts of southern peninsular India. The Indian Meteorological Department has predicted relief from the scorching conditions in several Indian states from the 5th till the 9th of May. Maximum temperatures will be above normal in Telangana and Rayalaseema. Early on Saturday, some parts of Telangana, Vidarbha, Rayalaseema and interiors of Odisha, north interiors of Karnataka, Marathwada, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Maharashtra or Central Maharashtra and East Uttar Pradesh witnessed maximum temperatures in the range of 40 to 45 degrees Celsius. Now, Nandyal in Andhra Pradesh also sizzled at 46 and was the hottest place across the country on Saturday. On the other hand, North Indian state of Assam got relief from the scorching heat as the Himalayan state received heavy rain since morning. The IMD has predicted a spell of heavy to very heavy rainfall accompanied by thunderstorms and gusty winds in the northeastern part of the country till Monday. As per IMD, fairly widespread to widespread, light to moderate, accompanied with isolated thunderstorm very much likely over Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Nagaland, Manipur and Mirzapur along with Tripura during the next 5 days is expected. And now to discuss more on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mondal. Dibyendu, very good morning. Now, this morning also brings some sort of relief for not only the campaigners but the voters also, because we are just a few hours away from the silent period, and on the 7th of May, again India would be going out to poll. Dibyendu.
Well, good morning, Deepika. That's absolutely right. You know, the IMD has predicted some respite from the massive heat that was being witnessed across many parts of the country. So, of course, on the 7th of May, when the country goes to polls in its 3rd phase, there could be some relief from the scorching heat that perhaps kept many indoors during the voting period of the 1st and 2nd phase that was witnessed in the country. But having said this, Deepika, the IMD also predicts that there could be some rainfall in the Indo-Gangetic plain, including the parts of West Bengal, Assam, Sikkim, and the peninsular India. So, of course, some sort of relief in that sense in this part of the country. Apart from that, the temperatures could also remain between 42 to 43 degrees Celsius in majority parts of the country, especially in the central part of India in the next 5 days. But of course, during the next couple of days, as the rainfall intensity and the activity over the Bay of Bengal also increases, the eastern part of India, including states like West Bengal, Odisha, Assam, Chhattisgarh, that was reeling under a massive heat wave, will get some respite and some good news on the way as per the prediction of the IMD over the next 5 days. Back to you.
And also one last quick question, Divyendu, when we talk about this prediction, this has this has rather brought some sort of relief. But when we talk about the preparations from the side of ECI, we've been showing reports that how ECI has been managing their campaigning and, wooing all the voters to come out in large numbers. But still, there would be different measures from different parts of the country to woo the voters once this nice, phase ends. And once again, India is hit by the heat wave, Divyendu.
Well, of course, the Election Commission has been trying ever since it announced the elections on the 16th of March, so to increase the voter turnout. And the EC has been carrying out activities across different parts of the country to encourage voters to come out to the polling stations and cast their vote. So, of course, the EC will be keeping a watch on the numbers of people turning out to the polling stations to cast their votes. Of course, I was in Bihar last week. So, of course, there we have seen how the Election Commission is using star campaigners or popular celebrities to woo the voters to come out to the polling stations and cast their vote. We also just saw a report by Ravi Dhiman from Karnataka how Election Commission is making efforts to ensure that people come out and vote. The Election Commission is also making special arrangements of water, wheelchair facilities, shades, etc. To make people who are coming to the polling stations to make them feel comfortable and give them some respite from the heat. So, of course, the EC is taking all measures it can perhaps to ensure that the voter turnout keeps increasing over the next 4 phases that are still left to go to polls.
And it is indeed the responsibility of now the voters to go out and vote in large numbers. Thank you so much, Divyendu, for joining us and bringing us the latest information on weather update and how is it going to impact the elections. And now in DD India News Hour, it's time to take a quick look at other stories making news across the world. The National Testing Agency is conducting the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test, which is NEET UG for undergraduate courses in medical institutions across the country on Sunday. More than 24 lakh candidates are appearing for the exam and will be conducted in 13 languages, with centres spread across 557 cities of India and 14 abroad. The foreign cities include Kuwait, Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Bangkok. Indian Coast Guard Station Mandapam recovered 97 kilograms of endangered sea cucumbers. The sea cucumbers are recovered from the North Vidalai Sea shore in Park Strait. These precious species are protected under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 and were handed over to the Tamil Nadu Forest Department for conservation efforts. Karnataka Janata Dal Secular MLA H.D. Revanna was arrested by a special investigation team official after a court in Bengaluru rejected his anticipatory bail petition on Saturday. He was arrested in a kidnapping case linked to sexual abuse allegations against his son and Hassan MP Prajwal Revanna. H.D. Revanna was picked up from the Padmanabhanagar residence of his father H.D. Devagowda. First school in Jammu and Kashmir's Udhampur has integrated rooftop farming into its curriculum to educate students about plant growth and the importance of organic produce. The initiative is spearheaded by the school principal in collaboration with the Udhampur Agriculture Department that aims to cultivate a generation of health-conscious individuals. It's time to take a short break here, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Russia puts Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on its wanted list. Labour Sadiq Khan wins a record third term as the Mayor of London. Rio de Janeiro all set for Madonna's massive Copacabana beach concert.
Hype versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
Welcome back after that short break. Let's quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. Campaigning to conclude on Sunday evening for the third phase of India's general Lok Sabha elections. 93 seats in 11 states and 1 union territory will go to polls on the 7th of May. Progress in Gaza truce talks after first round of negotiations ended in Cairo. Talks to resume on Sunday. Hamas reiterates deal should include commitment towards an end to the conflict. Devastating floods ravage East Africa. Over 600,000 people have been affected. Tropical cyclone Hidayah threatens to worsen humanitarian crisis in flooded nations. And Real Madrid continues their domination in Spanish football as they successfully lift their record-extending 36th La Liga title. Efforts have been intensified to secure a deal for a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of hostages, with now talks resuming in Cairo. Hamas's negotiators have now returned to the Egyptian capital to resume long-running talks brokered by Egypt and Qatar that would temporarily pause Israel's offensive in Gaza in return for freeing hostages. Hamas is insisting any deal makes a specific commitment towards an end to the conflict, but Israel is reluctant to agree while the group remains active in Gaza. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has repeatedly insisted that there will be a fresh military ground operation in the southern Gaza city of Rafah, even if a deal is agreed. Thousands of protesters rallied in Tel Aviv on Saturday, demanding the release of around 130 hostages still held in Gaza. The protests are being held in other parts of the country, demanding immediate release of hostages. Saturday's protests were held on the eve of Holocaust Memorial Day. The day is observed from sundown, the 5th of May, to sundown, the 6th of May. It comes a week before the Remembrance Day for the fallen of Israel's wars and victims of terrorism and Independence Day. Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day begins Sunday night, and this year, as the Israel-Hamas conflict entered its 7th month, the day takes on added symbolism. It is the first Remembrance Day since Hamas's 7th of October attack that was the deadliest day since the Holocaust. Yom HaShoah, that was first observed in Israel in 1951 and became enshrined into a law later in the decade, is viewed by many Jewish communities around the world as their primary day for Holocaust remembrance. Later in the evening, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog will also join Israel's Holocaust Remembrance Day opening ceremony in Jerusalem. And now let's bring you an update on Russia-Ukraine crisis. Russia has now opened a criminal case against Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and put him on a wanted list on Saturday, an announcement that Ukraine has dismissed as evidence of Moscow's desperation. Ukraine's foreign ministry noted that Russian President Vladimir Putin was himself subject to arrest under an international criminal court warrant. It said the Russian announcement was evidence of the desperation of the Russian state machine and propaganda that can think of no other way to attract attention. Now, Russian attacks on Ukraine's Kharkiv and Dnipro regions and the Black Sea port city of Odessa killed at least 2 people, set a food factory ablaze and damaged other infrastructure, homes and commercial buildings on Saturday. A Russian missile attack set fire to a food factory in an industrial district of Kharkiv city, injuring 6 employees. In the south, Odessa regional governor said 3 people had been injured in the city by a missile strike. An Air Force commander said air defenses brought down all 13 of the attack drones overnight. In the industrial Dnipropetrovsk region, shelling injured 1 and damaged infrastructure in Nikopol near the Russian-held Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that Ukrainian forces shot down a Russian Su-25 fighter bomber over the Donetsk region in eastern Ukraine on Saturday. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said Russia had used 8 missiles of various kinds and nearly 70 guided aerial bombs against communities and frontline positions during the day, after Ukraine's Air Force downed 13 Shahid drones that targeted the Kharkiv and Dnipro regions overnight. Zelensky added Moscow had no desire for peace.
We should all keep in mind that only by force can Russia be made to leave Ukraine alone. This will happen. Our efforts are sure to bring that about.
Now, Ukrainians attended an Orthodox Easter vigil at St. Michael's Cathedral in Kyiv late on Saturday. On Saturday night, Orthodox churches and cathedrals around the world ushered in Easter with solemn ceremonies. Easter celebrations culminated in a grand midnight procession with crosses and icons and worshippers chanting, "Christ has risen indeed." Russia's President Vladimir Putin attended Easter Mass led by Patriarch Kirill overnight on Saturday through Sunday at Russia's main Christ the Savior Cathedral in central Moscow. Well, Easter is Christianity's most important holiday that symbolizes the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Putin joined the believers for the overnight vigil in the company of Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin. On Saturday night, Orthodox churches and cathedrals around the world ushered in Easter with solemn ceremonies. Moving on, Taiwan leveled accusations against Chinese military aircraft for yet another breach of the sensitive Taiwan Strait on Sunday. Taiwan's Ministry of Defense said it detected 7 Chinese military aircraft and 5 naval vessels operating around Taiwan from 6 a.m. on Saturday and 6 a.m. on Sunday as per local time. According to Taiwan's Defense Ministry, one of the 7 Chinese military aircraft crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait and entered Taiwan's southwest air defense identification zone in response to Chinese action. Taiwanese armed forces monitored the situation and deployed combat patrol aircraft, naval vessels and coastal missile systems. So far in May, Taiwan has detected Chinese military aircraft 39 times and naval vessels 21 times. North Korea's UN envoy on Sunday said that US-led efforts to form new groups monitoring sanctions on North Korea will not succeed. Ambassador Kim Song made the comment in response to a joint statement the US and its allies issued this week, calling to continue the work of a UN panel of experts monitoring the long-standing UN sanctions against Pyongyang for its nuclear weapons and missile programs. Earlier this year, Russia vetoed the annual renewal of a panel of experts amid US-led accusations that North Korea has transferred weapons to Russia for use in its war in Ukraine. Sadiq Khan has been elected as the Mayor of London, winning a historic third term after a dramatic contest. Khan was declared the winner on Saturday afternoon with 43.8% of the vote. Khan from the Labour Party was initially elected to the post in 2016, becoming London's first Muslim mayor. And he is now the first politician to win 3 consecutive terms since the rule was created in 2000. Panamanians will elect a new country leader on Sunday amid a political crisis marked by discontent within the current government. 8 candidates are in the presidential race, but the spotlight is on Jose Raul Mulino, who is the former President Ricardo Martinelli's running mate and is leading in the polls. Panamanians hope that the elections will bring a change in the country's leadership. High inflation and a stagnant economy have generated widespread unrest in the Central American country. Panama's economy, once a regional GDP leader, has slowed dramatically in recent years. The International Monetary Fund forecasts GDP growth of just 2.5% this year, which is down from 7.3% last year. Togo's ruling party has 108 out of 113 seats in parliament, according to the final provisional results of last month's legislative election announced on Friday. The sweeping majority secured by President UNIR party follows the approval of controversial constitutional reforms by the outgoing parliament that could extend his 19-year rule. The new charter, adopted in March, also introduced a parliamentary system of government, meaning the president will be elected by parliament instead of by universal suffrage. Opposition parties were hoping to gain seats in the 29th of April vote to enable them to challenge the UNIR party after they boycotted the last legislative poll and left it effectively in control of the parliament. The election had been delayed twice because of a backlash from some opposition parties who called the constitutional changes a maneuver to allow the Gnassingbé to rule for life. Chad's interim president Mahamat Idriss Déby pledged at his final campaign rally on Saturday to collaborate only with the nations that respect the country's sovereignty, potentially signaling openness to greater ties with non-Western states as Chad now becomes the first of the Sahel's junta-ruled nations to hold the elections. Now, Déby, who seized power in 2021 after the battlefield death of his father and longtime ruler Idriss Déby, is widely expected to be declared the winner in Monday's presidential vote. Chad is now the last Sahel country with a substantial French military presence that still has warplanes and 1,000 troops placed over there. China's President Xi Jinping heads to Paris on Sunday for a rare visit to meet his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron. Now, Francis Macron is set to press him to reduce trade imbalances and try to convince him to use his influence on Russia over the war in Ukraine. The official meeting will include joint talks with Macron and European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen. Now, France will also seek to make progress on opening the Chinese market to its agricultural exports and also resolve issues around the French cosmetic industry's concerns about intellectual property rights. France has been keen to nudge China into pressuring Moscow to halt operations in Ukraine, with little progress so far, apart from Xi's decision to call Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky for the first time shortly after Macron visited Beijing last year. Now, on Tuesday, Macron will take Xi to the Pyrenees mountain he holds specially there as his maternal grandmother's birthplace. Xi will also leave France on Tuesday afternoon to head to Russia-friendly Serbia and Hungary. The 3 dead bodies found in Mexico's Baja California state are highly likely to be the American and 2 Australian tourists who went missing last week, a senior official from the region confirmed on Saturday. Mexican authorities are conducting forensic tests after finding the bodies on Friday. 3 surfers, 2 Australian and 1 American, have been reported missing from Mexico's California. The 3 were on vacation surfing in the municipality of Ensenada, about an hour and a half south of the US-Mexico border. It's now time to take a quick break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. World number 1 Iga Swiatek outclassed Serena Sabalenka in marathon finale to win Madrid Open. Andrei Rublev to face Felix in men's final category. Double-header day-to-day in cricket's mega clash. Fans of Punjab and Lucknow to enjoy their home team clashes in IPL. And Japan celebrate Children's Day with massive carp streamers flown across the island nation.
Team Pole Pulse has reached Ahmedabad. Gujarat is BJP's bastion, home turf of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. All eyes are on whether the BJP can have a hat-trick in 2024.
It will be much better when अगर हमें जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी अहमदाबाद में ही मिल जाए.
हम लेडीज़ है तो हम कभी भी रात को 12 बजे भी अगर जॉब के हिसाब से घर जाए तो हमको लगना चाहिए कि नहीं हम पूरे सेफ कंट्री में रह रहे हैं.
Join us as we track the pulse of Indian democracy.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour with me, Deepika. Now, weather updates from across the world. Flash floods and heavy rains in Kenya began in the middle of March have now killed several people. Kenya is now bracing for massive storm cyclone Hidaya. Torrential rain and floods have destroyed homes, roads and bridges and other infrastructure across the region. The government has asked people living near 178 dams and water reservoirs now close to overflowing, as well as those in informal settlements to close to rivers and streams, to now evacuate. The Nairobi government has set up 115 camps to host people displaced by the flooding and is working closely with donors and humanitarian organizations to provide food and non-food supplies to those affected. Floods continue to hit parts of East Africa, impacting thousands of people, including refugees in the region, and leaving many of them homeless. Tropical cyclone Hidaya has made landfall on the coast of Tanzania. The Tanzanian Meteorological Authority now reports that several coastal regions have encountered unprecedented rainfall. DD India's Isaac Lucando has more.
Record-breaking rainfall of 200 millimeters was recorded in Tanzania's southern region of Lindi, contrasting sharply with the typical May average of 90 millimeters. As Cyclone Hidaya approached the East African coast with maximum winds of 120 kilometers per hour and powerful gusts, ferry services between Tanzania's commercial hub, Dar es Salaam, and Zanzibar were suspended. Cyclones seldom make landfall on Tanzania's coast due to its proximity to the equator, but authorities cautioned residents as Cyclone Hidaya's intensity escalated. In the same vein, the Tanzania Red Cross Society conducted preparedness campaigns along the coast. Heavy rains and flooding in Tanzania over recent weeks have claimed the lives of 161 individuals, with over 200,000 others affected. In neighboring Kenya, the government says 70 deaths have been reported since the onset of the rainy season in March. While Dar es Salaam has largely been spared from the cyclone's effects, further rain is anticipated. The East African region remains highly susceptible to climate change, with El Nino projected to persist through May. Isaac Lucando in Dar es Salaam, reporting for DD India.
Heavy rains in southern Brazil this week killed more than 55 people. Brazil's president is all set to travel back to the state on Sunday to monitor the rescue efforts. Authorities said that 74 people were still missing, as storms in the last few days have affected nearly two-thirds of the 497 cities in the state. More precipitation is expected to batter the northern and northeastern regions of the state until Sunday. And in the US, at least 178 people have been rescued from homes and vehicles in Texas, with more rain expected over the weekend in the wake of strong storms and downpours that damaged homes and triggered evacuations. Most of the weekend rain will fall over western and central Texas, but a chance of heavier rain returns for the greater Houston area on Sunday. This week's storms were just the latest in a series of brutal weather events that have pounded the state since early April. Dozens of tornadoes have hit from the Panhandle to the Gulf Coast. Some areas of the state have also been pounded with softball-sized hail and months of rain that has fallen in East Texas in intense spurts, causing rivers to rise to the levels not seen since the devastating floods of Hurricane Harvey in 2017. Hong Kong was also hit on Saturday with intense rain and flooding. Hong Kong has issued its first red rainstorm warning of the year on Saturday as downpours caused flooding in areas of the territory, shutting roads and disrupting public transportation. Red is the second highest storm risk level. The agency also issued landslip and thunderstorm warnings and also advised the public to stay on high alert. As heavy rain persists, the Amber rainstorm warning signal is still in effect. And now in DD India News Hour, it's time to take a quick look at other news making news across the globe. Dozens of Christians attended a church ceremony in Moscow on the eve of the most holy day in the Orthodox Church calendar, the Easter Sunday. The devotees had their Easter cakes called kulichi and decorated eggs blessed with holy water by a priest ahead of Orthodox Easter. Thousands gathered at Rio de Janeiro's famous Copacabana beach ahead of a free open-air concert by pop star Madonna that was expected to attract some 1.5 million people. The show in Brazil marks the end of Madonna's greatest hit world tour called Celebration that started in late 2023. Star Wars enthusiasts in Chile's capital marked International Star Wars Day by dressing as their favorite characters from international movie franchise. Lovers of George Lucas's film gathered at a bar in Santiago, set on planet Tatooine, where they organized lightsaber fights and took pictures with other cosplayers. The first clip for Francis Ford Coppola's highly anticipated new film called Megalopolis was released on Saturday ahead of the movie's world premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. Megalopolis is a Roman epic fable set in an imagined modern America following the story of an idealistic architect looking to rebuild New York City as a utopia after it has fallen into decay. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports. Real Madrid continued their dominance in Spanish football as they successfully clinched their 36th La Liga title with 4 games to spare, dashing the hopes of their closest rivals, Barcelona. Madrid, a comprehensive 3-0 victory over relegation-threatened Cadiz, even with a lineup predominantly of bench players, was enough to secure the title as Barcelona stumbled to a 4-2 defeat against Girona. Real Madrid fans celebrated outside Santiago Bernabeu on Saturday after Carlo Ancelotti's side won the club's 36th La Liga title. Real Madrid, who've lost only once in the leagues this season, hold a 13-point advantage over second-place Girona, while Barcelona dropped to third with 4 matches remaining. The victory also secured Girona a spot in Europe for the first time after they qualified for the next season's Champions League. In tennis, Iga Swiatek won women's singles title in Madrid Open 2024 after defeating Aryna Sabalenka in a humdinger of a final on Saturday. After over 3 years, Swiatek won the match by 7-5, 4-6 and 7-6 at Manola Centena. The first meeting of the top 2 players in the world this season kept the Spanish crowd enthralled for more than 3 hours and also featured some extraordinary power, brilliant shot making and superb defense. The Pole also avenged her defeat to Sabalenka last year when she lost in another 3-setter. Now it is the 22-year-old's 20th career title and denies Sabalenka a 3rd crown in the Spanish capital. In the men's singles category, Andre Rublev will take on Felix Auger-Aliassime. In IPL today, it's going to be a double-header Sunday as two matches will be played. The first clash will be between Chennai Super Kings and Punjab Kings in Punjab's HPCA Stadium. Chennai Super Kings have been rusty in a few games as they have lost 3 out of their last 4 encounters. They are coming off a loss against Punjab Kings and now will face the opponents once again. In second match of the day, Lucknow Super Giants will take on Kolkata Knight Riders at Lucknow Sikana Stadium. The two teams who've performed well in the tournament so far are at the second and third positions respectively in the points table. Colourful cup-shaped streamers are flown across Japan at this time of year for Children's Day being celebrated today. The fish is a symbol of strength, courage and success. Legends has it that a carp once swam up a waterfall and became a dragon. The 100-meter-long carp mesmerized crowds in Saitama Prefecture. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from DD India and across India on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Deepika Mehto, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.